Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to another Cloudbeds live episode. My name is Paula. I'm a senior PR and partner marketing specialist at Cloudbeds and the host of today's show. In case this is your first time with us, we host a live show here on LinkedIn every month where I get to chat with renowned industry professionals about different topics in the hotel industry. All episodes are recorded and you can find them on our website, cloudbeds.com/videos. We've had amazing guests and great conversations so far, so I'm sure you don't want to miss them. Today's episode is all about group bookings. And just to give you a context and some numbers, in the beginning of this year, after 2024, many experts said group events were expected to make a strong comeback in 2024. Group revenues are on track to rise by 9%, with room nights up 5% and ADR up 4%. So it seems like it's been a good day for good year, sorry, for group bookings. The MICE market is evolving quickly, with group and business travel leading the way. So, with all that said, that's why we invited Russell Edmond, known as Russell Hotels, to be our guest today. Russell is a seasoned hospitality expert with over 25 years in the industry. And today he leads a brand specialized in hotel site selection, social media branding, and group travel. He has his show on air with Russell of Hotels, offer insights on industry trends and partnerships. And he is recognized a top social media influencer in hospitality. Okay, so without further ado, welcome to the show, Russell. It is so nice to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Policy. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very excited to talk to you again and to explore this topic with you. Thank you so much for accepting this invitation. And I can see that people are already joining us. So I just want to say hello again and welcome everyone. Please feel free to share with us where you're watching the show. Write your comments and questions in the chat box. We love interaction. I know Russell also loves it because I watch his shows and I know he likes to talk to people. So yeah, we have already here Karina saying hello. Hi, Karina. So Russell, I guess my first question to you is about your daily job, right? You connect event and meeting planners with the right hotel partners. I follow you on social media. I
Mhm.
see that you visit a lot of hotels, and I
Yeah.
love to go like to. It feels like I'm visiting them with you. So I'm curious to understand. What's your typical work day look like, if you have a typical day? I don't know. And how does it work? Like, are you contacted by the event and meeting planners and they say, hey, Russell, we have this, can you find us a hotel? And then you go and look for the hotels. How does it work? Your work. Yeah, how does it work? Your work, it's good, right? It's very
Yeah.
good.
Well,
Just
I'll just say this. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to come on the show. It's always a pleasure to have a conversation with you. I mean, it's been a while since you and I have talked, and I do appreciate you allowing me to come on and talk. But let me just answer. I guess the simple question is: there's no typical day for me. I mean, every day starts off differently. It just depends on what I'm working on. I do hotel site selection where I do assist companies and organizations with finding that right hotel for their meeting, their conference, their convention, their retreat, whatever the heck it is. And it can be corporate, it can be leisure, it can be association. It just depends on the type of meeting it is. But if let's just say someone called me and said, "Hey, can you help me find a hotel in," they'll give me the destination for the most part, and
okay.
then my job is to find the space for that particular group. Is it 50 rooms, 100 rooms, whatever? So 10 rooms or more is considered a group, right? So typically my meetings are around 50 to 100 people or so. I mean, I've done larger, but The average ones have basically about 50 to 100 people. So, based on that knowledge, I'll create an RFP, a request for proposal, based on the specifics that they give me. And then I will, through one of the platforms that we use, basically do one RFP, but I can send it to like 10 hotels at one time. And then I send it to those 10 hotels, and including my CVB representative as well. So Convention and Visitors Bureau, you always want to make sure you copy them on it as well, because they're the experts on that particular destination. So maybe they'll keep me apprised on certain things that are going on in the area. Maybe there's some specials or what do you call them, rebates and things like that that could come back to the group that would benefit the group. So it's
Oh,
always important that I do copy them on that as well. And then I'll get the RFPs or the proposals back. I'll go through those and compile those for my client and then send those over to my client. And then we
mm,
have a conversation about, well, this one will work. What do you think about this one? The
okay.
decision is up to the client, but they will have a conversation with me and ask
Mhm.
me, like, what do I think about this? What do I think about that?
Yeah.
Did this hotel work? What about the pricing? Can you negotiate a better
Yeah.
price? I mean, then you get caught up in all that stuff. And then, the food and beverage and all that. A lot of the food and beverage stuff is on them for the most part.
Mm,
I'm with them until we get to the contract stage. And then I go through the contract as well to make sure
mm,
everything is in there that should be in there. Because some
yeah.
hotels will, and that's not every hotel that does this, but some of them will use a standard contract. Well, every contract is not typical of every group, right?
Mm,
If it's a leisure group, you shouldn't send me a contract that's for a corporate group. So I have
yeah.
to go through and just make sure that they're signing the right kind of
Mm,
contract with the right clauses and things like that. And sometimes I have to ask the hotel, can you remove this particular clause because
yeah.
it does not
Mm,
it's not for this particular group.
yeah.
So and more than likely they do. And then once the
Mm,
contract is signed, basically now it's on the client, because I don't manage a lot of events unless they want me to manage the event as well.
okay.
But yeah, so I'm there from when it starts to when the contract is
Awesome.
signed, and once it's signed, then it's all turned over to the client to
Mm.
take care of the specifics like the menu and all that kind of stuff.
That's very interesting. And you already mentioned, I can see a lot of challenge the hotels face, and we're gonna go. I think we're gonna talk more about them a little bit later on the show. I can imagine like personalizing, the proposal. I guess it's a very important thing, and as you said, sometimes it's a lot of emails, a lot of things to answer, and you just send your standard, and then yeah, I mean, you are, I think, nice to go back to the hotel and say, can you do that? But maybe other people would say, okay, it's not paying attention to my request here, so
Hmm.
just go for the other one. So yeah, very interesting. Let me just say hello here to people because people are interacting, and I want to just say a shout out here. Hi, sorry if I'm saying wrong your name, but I think it's Vijay. I think I don't know. Sorry if I butcher your name right now. Michael, hello from the old Pueblo. Oh, old Pueblo, Tucson. Okay, hello, Michael.
Oh, I
And
know
then you have
him.
Jason. You know
I
him.
know I know Michael Reyes. Hey Michael, how are you
Ah.
doing?
And hello here, Jason. Jason saying hello from the Philippines. Well, thanks everybody that are joining us. And again, feel free to ask your question to Russell about group bookings. I'm sure he will love to answer you. So, Russell, in August this year, I was reading like hotel executives, like many of them from Hilton, Marriott, and many others. They said group and business travel demand were on track to reach pre-pandemic levels. That's in August,
Hmm.
and actually offset the leisure trends. But I want to know your experience. You work with this. You were there every day, working. So, what trends are you seeing in group bookings this year? That I don't know, maybe have any specific type of groups, corporate, weddings, events, any that they're on the rise or surge recently. Do you have any trends that comes to mind that you see this year? that you
Well,
are seeing?
I can say, well, first of all, let me address that. Yeah, group seems to be up. It is up. And how you always compare things to the previous year,
Yeah.
23. So yeah, so group is up. So I would definitely say that. And including in my groups is they're up as well. So I see a trend in a lot more specialty type of groups because I deal with I deal with a couple groups that are not your typical, and without going into a heavy conversation about some of these groups, they are not. I'll just say they're not typical. They're not corporate. They're not leisure. They're more. Some of them can be more wellness kind of things where people are
Mm,
getting together and maybe it's a yoga retreat or something like
yeah.
that. Or there's like an offshoot of like say women's trips or girls trips where they're getting together and they're going and they can be
Mm,
people that they can be family related through family, or they can be people
yeah.
that they work with, or just a group of friends that just want to go out and have a good time, and they're going to Mexico, or they're going to Spain. They want to start exploring exploring the either the country or the world. So there's a lot of those that pop up. And because I deal with one group, it's a group of police officers, right?
Oh.
And they're all colleagues. And
Mhm,
they started going to this is how I got started with this. I was introduced by someone else, and they're in a different state than I'm in. And
mhm.
they were going to NFL football games, NFL, American
Yeah.
football. They
Yeah.
were, they would go to they're in one particular city and they would follow their team. So it
Mhm.
started off with like 5 people that were going. Now it's like up to 25 people that go to all the away games for this
Yeah.
particular team. So it's the
Yeah.
it's the New Orleans Saints, right? So they're
Okay.
in New Orleans, but if the game is in Los Angeles, 25 people are coming there. If it's in
Okay.
Seattle, Washington, 25 people are going there. So I've been handling all their groups for them. And that's just typical of just something different that didn't exist before the pandemic. This group didn't. But now
Mhm.
now that whatever happened, and people just said, you know what, we're just gonna start traveling because we don't know when it's gonna end, when we can't
Yeah.
travel again. So it's just like a lot of pent up, whatever, travel anxiety or staying at home too much. Let's
Yeah.
just get out and start doing things. So, yeah, so I do see a lot more trends with specialty groups. Religious groups are doing more traveling.
Mhm.
Fraternity, sorority groups are doing a lot more things as well. And a lot of specialty groups. Like I deal with this one group that they deal with death. You know what I mean?
Oh.
People dying and dealing with remorse, and trying to make sure people have their affairs in order before it happens. So there's a lot of groups that back at 5 years ago, I never would have thought that excuse me, that these groups would even exist, or that they did exist, but they do, and it's just a matter
Okay.
of how do you find them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a lot of different trends are happening.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, the wellness one I've heard. I think it was from all the ones that you mentioned. Maybe it's the one that at least I heard about it, and it's I guess a global trend since we are so stressed
Yeah,
and
a
all
lot of
that.
those
Yeah.
exactly. And then
Yeah.
there's a lot of foodie kind of tours too.
Oh,
Excuse me.
that's interesting too. Yeah.
Yeah, people they see things like, say, the Food Network channel, and they're going around the world and seeing different cuisines like Thailand and things like that.
Hmm.
So there's groups of people that will actually go to different parts of either the country here, because they have different cuisine in different areas. Like let's
Yeah.
just say New Orleans, because New Orleans has a different type of food, like Creole
Yeah.
cooking and things like that. So they will have groups going to those destinations, and they would stay there, of course, and they would go to different restaurants, and then they would actually go to like a restaurant and have them teach them how to make certain cuisines, certain dishes, and things like that. So it's called foodie travel or whatever. So there's a lot. There's so many
Yeah.
different things that are going on, and but as hotel people, we need to be aware of those different things, what's
Yeah.
going on, like the leisure travel, you mix in business with leisure. I mean, there's a lot of those trends that are going on. That trend was actually before
Hmm.
COVID, but now it's kind of getting heightened because people are still doing that. I mean, there's people that are nomad travel where basically they'll go to a different country and they want to just experience the country, and they can work anywhere in the world as long as they
Mhm.
have their laptop and Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
They're good to work wherever. So there's a lot of different things, but it's just how do you identify that those particular markets? But because
Yeah.
they're out there, they are out there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very important. Like I think maybe some hotels think, oh, group. It's not not it's not particular my strength or something, or don't have much to offer, but uh, or I don't know, it's not a focus. But then you start researching, and yeah, you see that people are traveling for so many different reasons now in
Hmm.
groups. And as you were talking, I remember my friends, to be honest. I was thinking about some of my friends that, yeah, I was thinking, yeah, yeah, because now they do a lot of like girls trip, to
Yes.
connect to nature. Like everything have a theme, or it's a,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
very interesting.
Hmm.
But yeah, so Russell, we let's talk about a little bit of the challenge, because you mentioned that earlier. So my question to you is, what are some of the key challenges hotels face when handling large group bookings? Because it's different, of course, than handling, a single reservation. I can think of my times working at a front desk, some of the
Hmm.
challenges. But yeah, in your opinion, what are the key challenges, and how, maybe if you have any tips on how can hotels streamline this process, to accommodate the group's needs and the hotel's resources and all that, so it goes smoothly.
Well, I would say, scheduling is probably a big thing. Scheduling enough people, especially if it's a large group.
Mhm.
Hotels need to make sure that they're scheduling enough people to handle the group. A lot of times there's group reservations. Who's making the reservations? How are they coming in? Are they being streamlined through one rooming list, or people on their own? Because it's different ways. Because there's different types of groups, right? So there's groups that are um, they're they're paying on their own. They're making the individual reservations, or there's groups that have a rooming list. So
Mhm.
there's challenges with each, I guess. So just having like, okay, how are we doing this? Okay, are they calling in individually? Are they paying individually, or is it a group master? So, and I think the trend, and this is another trend that's going on, that some hotels, and I know Marriott specifically, they want, regardless of who's paying, they want it to be one source of payment, like
Mm.
one credit card, one rooming list.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's it. So that means it makes it easier for the hotel to deal with the
Yeah.
groups that are coming in.
Yeah. That makes
um,
sense.
Opposed to like let's just say I do a family reunion group for my family, right? It's like 100,
Mhm.
and I think we did 180 people last time, and
Wow. Big
each person
family,
was,
Russell.
yeah, well, I mean, hey,
Wow.
it is what it is. But and each person was responsible for their own
Okay.
reservation and own payment. So just imagine what's going on at that hotel, right?
Yeah.
They have to
Yeah.
have one dedicated person for reservations. Then when they're checking in, they have to take all the payment information and all that. So it slows up the process. And then
Hmm.
you got regular people that are, just
Hmm.
checking in, individual people that are checking in too. So sometimes you have to bring in an extra person. So, being, strategic and having your monthly meetings or weekly meetings to make sure you're paying attention to what groups are coming in and what are they going to require.
Hmm.
Is this group on their own, and putting out group resumes. One thing that when I was on hotel level, and I'm sure they still do it when I was on property, I know they still do it, but those are things that we have to make sure that we are doing in our weekly staff meetings, is that make sure that there is a group resume that is being generated. So everybody, all the players, food and beverage knows this group's coming in. Front desk, of
Mm.
course, engineering,
Yeah.
housekeeping. They know to get those rooms ready before they check in because they're checking in as a group, right?
Yeah.
So a bus is going to drop them off.
Yeah.
So transportation issue, all these things matter when it comes to dealing with groups. And
Yeah.
if we're not on top of it, we'll be behind it, and that's not a
Yeah.
good thing to be behind it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hope I
Yeah.
answered your question. I'm not sure
You
if I did.
did. You did. You did. And yeah, it was for me especially, it was a nightmare when as a front desk agent, when it was not like it was a group, as you say, it was a group, but each one would do their own reservation, especially if it goes for OTAs or something.
Hmm.
And then all the suddenly arrives a bus
Yes.
or like
Yes.
a minibus, and then you're like,
Yes.
okay, what's happening here? And then you have like a line, and then people want to be next to each other in the
Hmm.
rooms, and you
Yes.
didn't prepare it. Like it can be, yeah, it can get crazy very fast with groups if you're not
Exactly.
prepared. Yeah, yeah.
You're absolutely right.
And
And that's, I'm
yeah,
sorry,
go.
I see a comment from Karina. She
Yeah,
says internal communication is the key. Yeah, and that is so true. So like I said, that's what it comes to all those meetings that we have. Sometimes we don't discuss the things that are going on, the intricate details of groups, how, like you just said, how they're coming in, how are they going to be delivered to the hotel? Are they coming
mhm,
individually? They're driving their own cars, or are they taking Lyft or Uber, or are they coming out in one bus?
yeah,
What I mean? Are you going to have bailmen assist them, with
yeah,
the, porterage and all that kind of stuff? So all those things matter. So doing a resume, even for the smallest group, a resume is good because there's going to be some detail on there that we
mhm,
didn't either think about or we forgot about. What I mean?
yeah.
So it's always important to make sure that we do that internally in the hotel.
Yeah. Russell, we're already heading to the end here. So I have just one last question, which I think it's very key for this live show.
Mhm.
It's about, attracting book grouping. So yes, we have hotels watching us, hoteliers watching us, and many of them are interested in get more group bookings. So I want to know from you and an expert, what marketing strategies should hotels employ to attract more groupings, at least the basic ones?
I'll just say brand awareness. Letting people be aware that your hotel is there and that you exist and that you welcome groups. I
Yeah.
mean, that's one thing. And one thing that I kind of pride myself on is being consistent and be visible. Let people know that your hotel is there, that you exist. Because some people think that, okay, I work at this hotel, it's in this major city, they know that I'm here. No, they don't. They don't. I mean, me as Russell of Hotels, this independent you know, consultant, I have to continue to put myself out there, because everyone doesn't know what I do. So I have to make sure I always let people know who I am, what I do, and how I can help them. It's the same thing for a hotel. Where your hotel's located, what do you specialize in? Are you taking group? What are you near? All those kind of things. What kind of attractions are you near to attract more people to come there? So it's all about being visible. It's all about. I'm not saying you got to be in their face, but you do. You kind of do because sometimes we think selling is enough, right? Selling is just, face to face selling. Okay,
Mhm.
that's something different than marketing. Don't get selling and marketing. Uh, they're not the same thing. Marketing is more, you're creating awareness. You're letting people know that you're there. You're letting people know that your brand exists. And these are the things that you can do. These are the things that you're near. All those kind of things need to be put out there. And I can't think of any better way to do it than utilizing social media, to do it because everyone's on social media, everyone's looking at this, but you have to put those things out there and you have to be consistent with that.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think not only that you're there, but you welcome groups, because I as a traveler, sometimes when I do um, a group trip, I want to know, like, if if the hotel really embrace the, because it is a different type of, at least in my little experience, it is a little different type of reservation, and how to handle. So, and I think many hotels don't not, they they just don't say it,
Yeah.
don't embrace groups as a target
You have to
market or
ask for it.
something.
You have to ask for it. I mean, if people, because people may not know that your
Yeah,
hotel is capable of doing groups if you don't,
yeah,
put out, we have this meeting space or we have outdoor space, we
yeah,
have this, this is unique or whatever. And, the difference between one hotel to the next are the people.
mm,
And people want to buy off on, they want to be comfortable with booking. So make
mhm,
sure I always make sure, well, at least I tell people, hotels, to do this. This is what I advise them to do. Have their salespeople do things on social media as well, because people are buying from them. They're not buying the hotel. People think that the hotel is what's drawing people. Yeah, the hotel may have some features, but every hotel basically has a room, has a restaurant, has a meeting space. The difference between one hotel and the one across the street are the people involved. So you have to get your people out there to make sure that they're selling themselves, because it starts with you, or it starts with
Yeah.
me, and then goes to the hotel from there. So
Yeah. Love that. Well, that's it for today, everyone. That was fast, right, Russell? That was so much
yes,
fun.
it was fun though. It was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Well, thank you for again for being here, to taking the time to talk to us. I really really appreciate it. And if anyone that's watching us, Russell, want to get in touch with you, what is the best way? It is social media, or how they should contact you?
I'm on every social media platform, LinkedIn, so you can always send me a message through LinkedIn. You can email me at russellofhotels.com, or you can go to my website, russellofhotels.com. My email is there, and my phone number is there, so you can call me. I mean, it's
Oh.
fine. It's not a problem. I'm accessible.
Love that. Thanks everyone again for joining us. Sorry, I just got a Maxi comment here. I just want to read it. The difference between one hotel and the hotel across the street. Oh, it's what you said. Uh, are the people involved? Yeah, mic drop. Good one, Russell. Again, thanks everyone for joining us today. Please stay tuned for our next episode, and don't forget to follow Cloudbeds on LinkedIn. See you soon. See you next time. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.